Gentlemen, what if I told you that something sitting in your kitchen right now, something you've probably walked past 100 times without a second thought, could increase blood flow to your most important organ within 30 to 45 minutes? No prescription, no pharmacy visit, no blue pill, just a specific food prepared a specific way, taken at a specific time. I'm Dr. Lila Romano, a urologist with over a decade of clinical experience helping men reclaim their performance naturally. And today, I'm going to show you exactly what to eat before sex, how to prepare it, and when to take it for maximum effect. Stay with me until the very end, because I'll also reveal the one mistake most men make that completely cancels this effect before it even begins. Now, before we get into the solution, let's talk about what's actually happening in your body. Because here's the truth most men over 60 never hear from their doctor, and I say this as someone who has sat across from hundreds of men in my clinic. The problem usually isn't testosterone. At least, not entirely. The real culprit, the thing that steals your response, your confidence, your timing, is blood flow. Think about it this way. Picture your blood vessels as garden hoses. When you're young, those hoses are wide, flexible, smooth on the inside, and ready for pressure. But as the years go by, those hoses start to stiffen. The walls thicken. The inner lining, which doctors call the endothelium, gets damaged by years of stress, processed food, and poor sleep. And when that lining breaks down, something critical drops with it: nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is your body's natural vasodilator, the gas your arteries produce to relax, widen, and allow blood to flow freely. Here's what most men don't realize. Research published in the Nitric Oxide Journal shows that nitric oxide production drops by nearly 50% between the ages of 20 and 70. That means your arteries are literally half as responsive as they once were. Less nitric oxide means tighter vessels, slower blood flow, and yes, weaker, less reliable erections. It's like trying to drive a Ferrari with the parking brake still on. But here's what I need you to hear right now. Your body is not broken. It just needs the right signal to remember what it's capable of. And that signal is closer than you think. I want to share something with you before we go any further. A few years ago, a patient came into my office, a man in his mid-60s, retired, healthy by most measures. He'd tried the supplements from the health food store, the herbal teas, the zinc tablets. Nothing was giving him consistent results. He sat across from me and said, "Dr. Romano, I feel like my body has just given up." I hear that a lot, gentlemen. And every single time, it breaks my heart, because the answer is almost never as complicated as men believe. What I told him, and what I'm about to tell you, is backed by real science. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition found that aged garlic extract improved arterial flexibility in older adults by more than 50%. 50%. And a landmark clinical trial published in the journal Urology followed 24 men with an average age of 56.5, all dealing with mild erectile dysfunction. After introducing a specific natural compound we're about to discuss, 50% of those men improved their erection hardness score within just 30 days. Not 6 months. 30 days. Science isn't new, gentlemen. What's new is that most men have simply never been told about it. So, what is this food? What is the one ingredient I want you to eat before sex tonight? Garlic. Now, before you roll your eyes, stay with me. Because I'm not talking about garlic bread or a sprinkle of garlic powder on your pasta. I'm talking about fresh, raw garlic prepared in a very specific way that most people have never heard of. And the difference between doing it right and doing it wrong is the difference between a kitchen spice and a clinically powerful blood flow activator. Here's the secret. When you crush or chop a fresh garlic clove, it triggers a chemical reaction inside the clove that produces a compound called allicin. Allicin is the key. It's the compound responsible for garlic's most powerful health effects, including its ability to relax arterial walls, reduce vascular stiffness, and most importantly, stimulate your body's nitric oxide synthase enzyme, which is the very enzyme that produces nitric oxide. Think of allicin like a key that unlocks your arteries from the inside. But here's the critical part, and this is where most men get it completely wrong. You cannot just crush garlic and immediately eat it. You have to let that crushed clove rest for 10 minutes. Why? Because allicin is not sitting there ready and waiting inside the garlic. It only forms through an enzymatic reaction that takes time to complete. Skip those 10 minutes, and you lose up to 90% of the benefit. I'm begging you, don't skip the rest. Once allicin enters your bloodstream, it gets to work fast. Within 30 to 45 minutes, it begins reducing arterial stiffness, improving circulation, and helping nitric oxide flow more freely throughout your entire body, including exactly where you need it most. A study from the Journal of Nutrition confirmed this, showing that aged garlic extract improved arterial flexibility in older adults by over 50%. That means wider vessels, better oxygen delivery, and a body that responds the way it should. But garlic alone is only half the equation, because when you pair it with the right second ingredient, the effect doesn't just double, it multiplies. And that's exactly where we're going. Next, the second ingredient is one you almost certainly already have in your home. In fact, you may have had it this morning without realizing you were holding one of the most effective natural vasodilators known to science: caffeine. Now I know what you're thinking. Dr. Romano, I drink coffee every day, and it hasn't done anything for me. And that's a fair point, because caffeine on its own, consumed casually throughout the day, isn't the same as caffeine used deliberately, at the right time, paired with the right companion. Here's what the research shows. Caffeine acts as a temporary vasodilator. It increases your heart rate slightly, opens up blood vessels, and primes your smooth muscle tissue for action. Studies published in the British Journal of Pharmacology have confirmed caffeine's ability to relax vascular smooth muscle and improve circulatory output. That's exactly why elite athletes use caffeine before training. And intimacy, gentlemen, is not so different from a workout. Now here's where it gets really interesting. When garlic's allicin and caffeine enter your system together, they work on the same pathway, your nitric oxide synthase enzyme, from two different angles simultaneously. Allicin stimulates production. Caffeine amplifies circulation. Together, they create a compounding effect that neither one achieves alone. And if you want to take this even further, add one more element: dark chocolate. Not the sugary milk chocolate bars. I'm talking about 70% cocoa or higher. Dark chocolate is loaded with flavonoids, specifically a compound called epicatechin, which has been shown to protect nitric oxide from being broken down too quickly by free radicals. A landmark 10-year Harvard study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition tracked 25,096 men and found that those with the highest flavonoid intake had a 9 to 11% reduced incidence of erectile dysfunction. That's the power of 1 or 2 squares of real dark chocolate working quietly in your favor. Garlic, caffeine, dark chocolate. 3 ingredients, 1 shared pathway, and a result that will surprise you. Let me walk you through exactly what happens inside your body when these 3 ingredients work together, because understanding the mechanism is what separates men who try this once and forget about it from men who make it a permanent part of their routine. It starts the moment allicin from garlic reaches your bloodstream. Allicin stimulates an enzyme called nitric oxide synthase. Think of this enzyme as a factory. Its one job is to manufacture nitric oxide gas inside your blood vessel walls. When that factory is running at full capacity, it pumps out nitric oxide continuously. And nitric oxide does something remarkable. It signals the smooth muscle cells lining your arteries to relax. When those muscle cells relax, the artery widens. More blood rushes through. More oxygen and nutrients reach every tissue in your body. Now, the most important tissue in this equation is called the corpus cavernosum, the sponge-like chambers inside the penis that fill with blood during an erection. When nitric oxide signals those chambers to relax and accept blood flow, erection becomes easier, firmer, and longer lasting. This is not folk medicine, gentlemen. This is the exact same biological pathway that prescription ED medications work on. The difference? Those medications don't create nitric oxide. They simply prevent it from breaking down too quickly. What you're about to make helps your body produce it naturally from scratch. Here's where caffeine steps in. Caffeine increases your cardiac output, meaning your heart pushes blood through your vessels with more force and frequency. Think of it as turning up the pressure in those garden hoses we talked about earlier. More pressure, more flow, more delivery to exactly where it's needed. And dark chocolate's flavonoids? They act as bodyguards for your nitric oxide. Free radicals, toxic molecules produced by stress, pollution, and aging, attack nitric oxide and destroy it before it can do its job. Epicatechin from dark chocolate neutralizes those free radicals, protecting your nitric oxide and keeping it active longer. Nitric oxide is like a traffic officer standing at the intersection of your arteries, waving blood through when you need it most. Without it, everything backs up. With it working properly, your body remembers exactly what it's capable of. And that's a feeling no pill can replicate because it comes from within you. All right, gentlemen, this is the section I want you to pay close attention to. Get a pen if you need one, because I'm going to give you the exact recipe, the exact amounts, and the exact timing. No guesswork, no, add a little of this, no vague instructions. This is a clinical approach to a natural solution. Here is your complete pre-intimacy blood flow formula. Start with 1 glass of warm water, 8 ounces. Not cold, warm. Warm water absorbs into your system faster and won't slow the digestive process the way cold water can. Into that water, add 1 fresh garlic clove that you have already crushed and allowed to rest for a full 10 minutes. I cannot stress this enough. That rest period is not optional. It is the activation step. Without it, you're essentially eating a flavorful vegetable with none of the circulatory benefits. Crush it, walk away, come back in 10 minutes. That's when the allicin is fully formed and ready. Next, add half a teaspoon of instant coffee, or the equivalent of 1 short shot of brewed espresso. You don't need much. This isn't about the caffeine buzz. It's about the vasodilatory effect at a precise, controlled dose. Then stir in 1 teaspoon of raw honey. This is optional, but I recommend it. Raw honey buffers the sharpness of the garlic, makes the drink far easier to take, and adds its own antioxidant properties that support blood vessel health. Mix everything together and drink it steadily, not gulped down, but consumed over 2 to 3 minutes. Now for the bonus amplifier, and this is what separates a good result from a great one. Eat 1 to 2 squares of 70% or higher dark chocolate either just before or immediately after your drink. Brands like Lindt 70%, Ghirardelli Intense Dark, or Green and Black's Organic are excellent choices. Look for 70% cocoa or higher on the label. Avoid Dutch processed chocolate. The processing destroys up to 80% of the flavonols that make it effective. Timing is everything. Take this combination 30 to 45 minutes before intimacy, not 10 minutes before, not 2 hours before. That 30 to 45 minute window is when allicin and caffeine have fully entered your bloodstream and your nitric oxide levels are at their peak. One more thing, do not take this on a full stomach. If you've just eaten a heavy meal, your body is diverting blood flow to your digestive system. The circulatory benefits will be significantly reduced. A light snack is fine. A full dinner is not. And here's a tip I give all my patients who want to amplify this effect even further. After drinking your mixture, take a brisk 10-minute walk. Nothing intense, just movement. Physical activity, even mild, triggers an additional release of nitric oxide from your vessel walls. Your partner asks where you're going? Tell them doctor's orders. If you cannot tolerate raw garlic, there is a supplement alternative that works beautifully. Aged garlic extract capsules at a dose of 600 to 1,200 milligrams are available at any pharmacy or health food store and deliver the same allicin compounds without the bite. You can also take 1.5 grams of L-citrulline, a natural amino acid found in watermelon, 1 to 3 hours before intimacy. The Urology Journal study I mentioned earlier, that was specifically testing L-citrulline. It converts to L-arginine in the kidneys, which then converts to nitric oxide through the same pathway we've been discussing. Cleveland Clinic has confirmed doses of up to 15 grams daily are safe and well tolerated. Now, before you head to the kitchen tonight, I need you to hear a few important warnings. Because I'm a urologist, not just a content creator, and responsible medical guidance means telling you the full picture. First, if you are currently taking blood thinners such as warfarin, aspirin, or clopidogrel, please speak with your doctor before adding this protocol. Both garlic and caffeine have mild blood thinning properties and can interact with anticoagulant medications. Second, if you have a history of heart disease or uncontrolled high blood pressure, start with half the dose. Use just half a clove of garlic and reduce the caffeine to a quarter teaspoon. Let your body adjust over 1 to 2 weeks before working up to the full amount. Third, if you have diabetes, be aware that both garlic and caffeine affect blood sugar levels. Monitor your readings and talk to your physician before making this a daily habit. Fourth, and I want to be very direct here, if you are experiencing severe or sudden onset erectile dysfunction, please do not rely on this protocol alone. See a urologist. Sudden ED can be an early warning sign of cardiovascular disease, and you deserve a proper evaluation. And finally, gentlemen, please, brush your teeth, chew some cardamom, use a mint. You have done the hard work of boosting your blood flow. Do not let garlic breath be the reason the evening goes sideways. Let's talk about what to expect and when. Because I want you to go into this with realistic expectations and the confidence that comes from knowing your body is actually responding. Tonight, within your first use, many men notice a pleasant warmth and heightened sensitivity. That's your blood vessels opening up. That's real. By days 3 to 7 of consistent use, you'll likely notice more reliable morning erections, steadier energy throughout the day and day. General sense that your circulation is simply working better. Between weeks 2 and 4, the improvements become more pronounced. Stronger response, greater confidence, more consistent performance. This is when most men start telling their partners something has changed for the better. And at the 8 to 12 week mark, with daily consistent use, you are no longer just getting a short-term blood flow boost. You are rebuilding arterial flexibility, reducing vascular stiffness, and giving your cardiovascular system a genuine long-term upgrade. This is not a one-night trick, gentlemen. It works better the longer you use it, because you are not just boosting blood flow in the moment, you are rebuilding the system that makes it possible. Missing one evening doesn't matter. Missing every evening does. Gentlemen, let me leave you with this. In over a decade as a urologist, the men who struggled most in my clinic were rarely the ones with the worst physiology. They were the ones who had simply never been given the right information. Men who spent years believing their body had given up on them, when in reality, their body was just waiting for the right fuel. Your body is not broken. It is not too old. It is not past the point of responding. You are simply giving it what it has been missing. So here is my challenge to you. Try this protocol every single evening for the next 30 days. Pair it with good sleep, a short daily walk, and cut back on alcohol. Give your body 1 month of consistent, deliberate support, and I promise you will feel the difference. Not just in the bedroom, in your energy, your confidence, and the way you carry yourself every single day. If this was helpful, hit that subscribe button for more doctor-approved, science-backed tips every week. And share this with a man in your life who needs to hear it, because this kind of information changes lives when it reaches the right person. This is Dr. Lila Romano, and I will see you in the next video.